Good evening, investment addicts. I am
What's up,
Andre,
really
and
dark?
thank you for joining us on this beautiful Monday night. I want to first apologize for not streaming during the 4th of July. It just got a little bit crazy over here at my place, and and unfortunately, some people didn't show, so I really couldn't go forward with my stream, and I didn't really have a contingency plan in place. But today, I told you that it was going to be a great stream today, and I promise I will deliver today. We're going to be talking about, investments of what you can do in your 20s to really make you set for life. It's gonna be a beautiful night. It's gonna be an absolute beautiful night. Thank you for the great comments. So I want to first start out by saying yes. That was our good friend Carrie. He makes this dubstep music. I will post the SoundCloud in the chat in case you guys want to know what the SoundCloud is. That song specifically was called I Shouldn't Be Here, but I will post that right now in the chat. So definitely check out Carrie's EDM dubstep mixes. He makes very, very good music. I love you, Carrie. I appreciate it. So let's go forward and we're doing this stream about investing really in your 20s. These are the years that are absolutely crucial, that are going to set you up for life. Would you not agree?
No, I definitely agree. I do want to apologize for the very beginning. The camera was kind of dark, so I had to fix that. Second of all, you forgot the Blues Cruise.
Yeah, thank you.
Subscribe. Wow. Okay. Anyways, so the disclaimer that we have to do is we are not real estate attorneys. We're not real estate lawyers. We're not financial advisors. So we can't legally tell you what to do with your money. But what we can do is we can give you lifelong experience. We have maybe about 50, 60 years worth of investing advice that we've gotten from our family, good friends. We all work with older people that are multi-millionaires, and they've pretty much said the same thing. We can kind of point you in the right direction of that.
Yeah, it's we have been in the market for almost our entire life. We, like you said, my brother, we did grow up with these types of people. So, they did pass, which we talked about last stream. It's very, very important to pass the knowledge that you learn through your life.
Yeah, when you learn, you teach.
Yes. Yeah,
Don't be so hard set to keep your knowledge to yourself. You need to learn. You need to teach what you know. So we're talking about investing and how to really get your nest egg in your 20s and 30s. If you don't get what you want in your 20s, there's always the 30s, which is now
your time is running out in your 30s because realistically, you only really have about 30 years left of work. I mean, you could still do it. It's definitely possible. But you want to take advantage of compounding interest. And especially during these COVID times, compounding interest is going to really, really stack up, especially if the market is so freaking low right now.
Yes, of course. And I would say once you get to about 35 years old, that's generally like the deadline of what job you want to have.
Yeah.
Like I would say once you're about 35 years old, it gets harder to leave your job. And because it gets harder to leave your job, you need to decide at like 20, 30 years old, at most, 35 at most, is this the job, is this the career I want to do for the rest of my life? And once you have that in the back of your mind, then you can kind of go forward from there. If you can't always start early, start investing at 17.
Hell yeah, that's kind of we're actually going to get to that. It's super, super, super important to really, really start investing at a young age. I mean, you can invest as early as 17. You can have your parents put this in a fund for you or something. And if you have kids yourself, again, I am not giving you financial advice. I cannot legally give you financial advice. But if I had kids, I would definitely set up I multiple accounts for my kids, and I would love for just that money to just grow throughout the periods of between 1 and 18. Imagine just having that money that, you could, if you took like $2,000, $3,000 right now and you invested into an X stock, 20 years, 18 years down the road, if you did your research before you bought the stock, it could possibly be worth maybe 4 or 5, 6 times, what you really paid for it. And I mean, that's a good start.
No, yeah, that's a very good start. I would recommend, definitely before you guys have kids, or if you do have kids, make a 529 plan.
Yeah, can you explain that? What is a 529 plan?
A 529 plan is a plan that, and generally there's no bad thing about this investment. A 529 plan is something kind of like a Roth IRA or an IRA, but for a different purpose. A 529 plan, all it does is that you sock money away into an account that grows with the market. Not entirely sure how it grows with the market, but it grows with the market. It will go down in value. It will go up in value, but your gains aren't taxed. So the taxed on the gains, if you keep putting $5,000 in for 3 years, you have 15 grand. That 15 grand in 10, 20 years, I mean, your kid finally gets to be 20 years old. You put it in when they're 1. You put $15,000 in there when they're 1 years old. Hey, thanks for the follow, King Austin.
Yeah, we appreciate your viewership as always. Thank you for joining the Investment Addicts.
Yeah, so if you put $15,000 in, there might be a max on how much you can put in per year, but I doubt it. But if you put $15,000 in by the age of 3, I mean, and that stacks up, goes up with the market, that's 17 years of market gains. So that 15,000 could go up to about 30 to 40,000, maybe even 50,000, depending on the market.
Mm-hmm. And depending on your research of when you put it in. Like if you choose what's called a mutual fund, which is a combination of different stocks. You can choose mutual funds in the tech sector, you can choose mutual funds in the healthcare sector, or you can do mutual funds in a combination of all the different sectors. So since the economy is cyclical, you're going to have, back in, early 2000s, you had the dot-com bubble, but, tech stocks kind of crashed, but, you'll have a sector that goes up. So there's going to be an average. This is kind of just straightforward, just an average of about 7% growth every year. It's just the normal, if you take into account the dips and ups. So 1 year you'll have minus 100%, minus 100% gains, and then you'll. Oh, thank you, Miss America. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the sub.
Thanks for the sub. Yeah, 1 year you might have minus 50% gains, and then 1 year you might have 100% plus 100% gains. It's all going to factor into an average.
So going back to the 529, you can, when your kid becomes 18 to 20 years old, they can use those funds then, and they can use them for qualified educational expenses. All that means is every college, whether it's USC or El Camino or your local community college, has a site online or has like a page online that shows qualified educational expenses. You can use that. You can use your 529 for that. It's better to have the 529 plan pay the college than it is for you to pay it yourself and then getting reimbursed from your 529 plan. So you have two options of how it's paid. The bank pays the college, or you pay the college and then the bank pays you.
So King Austin said, my parents helped me create a Roth IRA and I gave them my money to put into it, then told them which stocks to invest in. Doing great so far. That is awesome, King Austin. And that's what I absolutely love hearing, like that people that just can't get enough of the sweet gains from the markets or anything they invest in.
A Roth IRA is great because you put in pre-tax or after-tax dollars.
Yep.
After-tax dollars. And so I've always been, I mean, depending on your investment strategy, personally, I've always been so enthralled about a Roth IRA. I think it's the better of the IRAs because you put in your pre-tax dollars now, so you can withdraw them tax-free in the future, 60 years from now. You don't know what the tax rate is going to be 60 years from now.
Yes.
It could be 50, 60%.
And I could be wrong on this. I really could be wrong. But, I mean, this would be for something that you could talk to your financial advisor. But if you make significant amount of income, you could probably write off the deposit that you make into a Roth IRA. So if you deposit $5,000, you could possibly, I'm just hypothesizing right now. You could possibly write that off.
Well, you're already paying taxes on the money anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
because you're putting in this is net. You're putting in net money into a Roth IRA, so the money is already taxed.
Yeah. Okay.
So you couldn't if it's taxed, you can't write. I mean, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to talk to your financial advisor or accountant on the specifics of that.
So going back to your 20s and your 30s, if you're 18 and if you're 20 years old and your net worth is $0, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad. You should be living.
Yeah.
You should be living off of top ramen. I mean, I was 23 years old buying 99-cent store pizzas.
Yeah,
and I was, I was great. I was happy. I was vibing. And the thing is, when you're 20 years old and you're eating ramen and you're bragging about it, people are not going to bat an eye. They're going to be like, "Oh, dude, that's awesome.
I remember that.
I remember those days.
Yeah, I remember
that was awesome. That was a great time of my life, man." You're going to have those kinds of people. But then think about it. If you're 35 years old, if you're 40 years old doing that, they're going to talk to you. They're going to say, "Wait a minute. You haven't gotten your life straight." And that's why we need to have these kinds of discussions, because this stuff is not told in schools or not taught in schools unless you specifically seek out this knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. With having a net worth, how you get your total net worth, so how you decide how much you are worth, essentially, is taking...
What do you own?
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
So you take all of your bank accounts, your investment accounts, any equity that you have in your home, you add it all up.
Any assets, any cars,
whatnot. And then you take all of your debts. You take all your debts, credit card debts, student loan debts, anything that you owe money on, a car loan. You add all that up. So you should have two lines of numbers. You have everything that you own, and then you add up all of your debts. So if you have a $30,000 debt, you do $30,000 plus your $5,000 credit card, so $35,000, etc. You take those two numbers, the last number you subtract.
Yeah,
you subtract the how much you own.
Your assets minus your liabilities.
Correct.
Will equal your net worth.
Well, yeah, that's where I was trying to get to, but I don't want to just say assets minus liabilities, because I don't want people to get confused. I don't know if people understand what assets or liabilities are, so I'm trying to make it easier on people, and it looks like I completely failed at that.
You're going too basic on this.
Yeah, too basic. I'll just do assets minus liabilities.
Yeah,
if you don't know what that means, look up liability, look up assets.
Yeah, assets minus liabilities. Yeah, so let's see here.
So if you have a net worth of $0 at 20 years old, and even at 22, 23 years old, that's fine.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
that's completely fine.
Oh yeah,
definitely. And I think that's the average on the United States.
You could actually have negative net worth.
Yes, you can. You can have
be in debt up to your shoulders.
Yeah, my net worth is negative $50,000 because I took out a student loan.
On a Mustang GT.
Oh, I'm sorry, not a student loan. A must be gay.
No. Mustang GT.
Oh, okay. Mustang. Sorry, did I say it wrong?
Yeah.
Mustang GT.
Mustang GT. So yeah, that's just a basic accounting kind of thing. So yeah, definitely this is you're gonna have to get your finances in order, and let's actually start. Like, how do we do this? Like, once you turn 18, so we talked about how the parents can put away money for you, and then that can grow up to until you're the age of 18, and then you can finally withdraw that money. But the thing is once you see, if your parents did that for you, and once you see an account that's $75,000 that you didn't have a year ago, please don't spend it.
That's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah,
like, it's a friend of mine, he just got $30,000 given to him, and he went through that $30,000 in about 6 months buying shit on Amazon. And I'm not talking about, like, I mean, granted, it was his money. He could spend it the way he wants. It made him happy. But still, like, I mean, I don't know what he has now. It's none of my business. But we kept telling him, you need to put some of that money away. You need to put some of that money away. Keep putting that money away, because if you don't, you're gonna have nothing.
And here's the fun thing about money: the more you have, the more money you're gonna make.
Exactly, compounding interest.
The more money you're gonna make. That's kind of where you want to get to, because when you're an uber millionaire, you seem to become a magnet for money. You know, everything that you do, whether it's a business meeting or something, like, it's always going to be some sort of gain. And, you know, it's just Jeff Bezos picking up a penny off the street, he loses a couple $1,000s, because his time just picking up that penny is worth so much more than picking up the penny.
Where you guys should get to is get about $500,000 in your bank account. No, I'm serious. Get about $500,000 in your bank account. Put that in, invest it, and at an average return from 7 to 10% a year, that's 10% of 550,000. So you essentially make $50,000 a year just on interest. That's more than anyone can really put away. An average person can put away in their bank account every single year.
So we have King Austin coming in. I would think that most young adults ages 20 to 25 would have negative net worth because they are about the house buying age if they have the monthly income and in low cost housing markets, but don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars of assets to offset the debt or of the mortgage. I mean, that's awesome. If you're 20 to 25 years old and you can qualify for that mortgage loan, I mean, that's one step to becoming a millionaire. I mean, I don't know how much of a millionaire means today, but it used to mean a lot. A millionaire, I mean, in California, I know that houses, on average, are about $600,000 to $800,000. Especially here in the LA area.
See, where King goes to is, if they can afford the monthly payment on it, especially in low housing, but don't have hundreds of $1,000s to offset. That's generally the first-time home buyer.
Yep.
That's why there is first-time home buying assistance as well, with the 3.5% down.
King, I just want to let you know, we are real estate agents in the Southern California area, and we specialize in this kind of stuff. And we see this all the time. And what we like to say is, mortgages, and you not only get to write off the interest expense, and with a mortgage, especially, and I will post this in the chat, especially with an amortization chart, you will be paying more interest in the first few months or the first few years of the loan. So you can pretty much write off your entire mortgage against your income. And also, it becomes a forced savings account. You're building your net worth over every single month.
Think of your rent payment for your mortgage account as a forced savings account.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not including any sort of maintenance in the property or on the property, but just the tax benefits, especially here in California, the tax benefits and the forced savings accounts, it's kind of just like a double benefit. But the thing is you need to qualify for that mortgage.
Yeah, and they do completely look into your finances and whatnot. That's a whole different story.
Yeah, when I was going through my home buying process, I felt financially violated. It was absolutely nuts. They wanted to see, 6 months of bank statements. They called my employer, and they even called my employer at the end of the mortgage process just to make sure I was still employed.
Yeah.
And
verification of employment.
Yeah, you will feel financially violated at the end of doing the mortgage process, but it is all worth it. Everybody has to go through it who wants a house, and that's that.
So we're in our 20s right now, and you just graduated high school. What do you do? Like, how do you get and you have no debts. You haven't decided you wanted to go to college. And you've, I would say the worst thing you could do to start off is don't go buy a new car.
Yeah, don't go buy a new car. I mean, go buy a car. No, okay. Listen to the words in that sentence. Don't go buy a new NEW car. All right, a new car is probably. I've never in my life had a new car, and I'm 28 years old, and I've had about 6 different cars. I've never had a new car. I always buy used. I've always bought certified pre-owned because I do not want to get hit with that depreciation just driving off the lot.
There are many benefits to owning a house. I personally think renting is just throwing away money unless you don't have the means to buy a house. You should never buy one you can afford. ASAP.
You should buy one.
I'm sorry.
Yes, King. I can't agree with you more than that statement. I mean, if you can't afford a house, usually about the mortgage payment should be about 30 or 40% of what you take home. That should be like the max amount of the mortgage you should be paying. Maybe in some circumstances 50%, but nothing more than 50%. But yes, renting, in my opinion, is only beneficial. This is the only way I see renting beneficial, is if you are in an area and you do not expect your job to keep you for more than X amount of years. Say, for instance, you're studying in Syracuse, New York, or something like that, and your heart isn't set to Syracuse, New York, but you need a job. Then I believe that you should be renting. But if your home base is going to be in your, whatever state you live in, buying should be the way to go, because you can always lower your tax liability with that beautiful interest payments that you make every month.
Yeah. Also, some jobs require you to work at a specific location, like away from your house, for maybe 1 or 2 years, and you're full time in that location. You got to go to an office. You got to do this, and then after you put those 2-3 years in with the company, then you can move down to another area or get another. That's the only time where I could see renting really being beneficial, unless you just wanted to buy a house up there and you rented it out after you left, and you came down here and you rented, and now you have a free apartment.
I don't even think you can write off your rent.
No, you can't.
You can't write off your rent.
No.
If you're a Google employee, let me just break this down real quick. If you're a Google employee, you're making $100,000 a year just straight out of college, you're gonna have a huge tax liability, especially here in California. You're gonna be paying roughly, I want to say about 32%, both with state income tax and federal income tax if you're filing single. You're going to have to check with your accountant on this. I'm not an expert in tax, and I'm not a lawyer in tax. But you're going to have a huge tax liability. You're going to be probably paying maybe $6,000 to $8,000 on top of the mandatory withdrawal. So why not buy a house at that point? So every single payment that you make every month, a percentage of that is going to be deducted from your total income to lower your tax liability. What I mean by tax liability is, so you have your income at $100,000 a year. After all your interest payments or whatever interest payments or whatever deductions that you want to take, let's say it's $15,000. All right. So now it's $85,000.
You made $100,000 in 1 year.
Yeah. So you made $100,000 in 1 year. And then you have all these deductions, whatever you do, and it's $15,000. Now your tax liability, your tax is based off of $85,000,
not $100,000.
Not $100,000. So in reality, you took home $100,000, but you're paying taxes on $85,000. And that is the secret of saving money when you make a lot of money. What I mean by a lot of money is more than $100,000.
Yeah, I actually had to look on the IRS website. You cannot, under no circumstances, when you deduct rent payments on your tax return, because essentially you're using property that's not yours.
Yeah, it's because the landlord is probably deducting the same property.
Yeah, well, regardless. But I mean, it does say that if you do use the property for a trade business, you may be able to deduct a portion of the rent from your taxes. The amount of taxes you can deduct is based on how much square footage.
Make sure if you're renting, King states, make sure if you're renting out your own property, you check info on how capital gains tax works. Some places require you to live in the house full time for some time, EX 2, 3, 5 years. He's talking about the home sale exemption. No,
homeowners exemption.
No, not the homeowners exemption. The primary residence sale capital gains tax exemption, which you have to live in the property for 2 years in California. You have to live in the property for 2 years. And then if you're filing single, if your home value increases up to $250,000 more than what you paid for. So let's say you bought a house for $250K and then you sold it for $500K. So you made approximately $250,000. Under normal circumstances, if you lived and that is your primary residence, it is labeled that it's your primary residence and you live there for more than 2 years, you are exempt from the 22 or 21% capital gains tax that the IRS would normally hit you with. And if you're married, it gets even better.
500,000.
500,000.
Yeah,
but
it
has to be owned between you and your spouse. But yeah, that's beautiful. That is a beautiful tax benefit of owning property in a appreciating area.
There's also another thing that I think King might kind of touch on as well, and that's with the FHA, the first-time home buyers. You can't get an FHA loan if you don't live in the property, or if you don't expect to live in the property for a year. Like, I think it's a year, and generally, if you don't live in the property for a year, you're not like,
so like a flip or something?
Yeah, it's to prevent like flippers, and you can only really get one of these.
Yeah,
loans
one FHA at a time.
No, in your lifetime.
I'd have to check on that.
Yeah, first time home buyers, lifetime. Yeah. So it's true. You can only get one, and you can only get one. But we're gonna have a loan expert on here. We're not experts on loans. We know the bare minimum on loans, but we will have somebody on here that will be an expert for loans.
Yeah.
So once you get we're going to go back to the 20s and 30s stuff. How do you get to the point where you can start investing when you're at 20 years old, 22 years old?
In my opinion,
you've graduated high school. You've waited 2 years because you were playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And now you decide you need to move out of your mom's basement and you need to get a job. Unless
you're a trust fund baby, which isn't bad, just use the money wisely. Unless you're a trust fund baby, I recommend stacking. Actually, you know what? I recommend. What was that noise?
Oh, that's probably another. I'm gonna check. We just heard a noise.
Sorry, we just heard a noise. 1 second. Oh, it's our cats. I recommend. Where was I? I'm sorry.
Unless you're a trust fund baby.
I'm sorry. I recommend. Let's get it back on track. I recommend you work, save that money, spend less than what you take in, and just keep saving and investing. So you can. We were going to talk about this, like different apps that you can use now that they're on the App Store or the Play Store, or whatever you use. You can use these different apps to your advantage to start growing your portfolio. If you're a savvy investor, you could use Robinhood. I mean, you've probably heard of Robinhood, where you can invest into certain stocks, and you can invest into Bitcoin, and you can invest into Litecoin, or whatever you want to invest in. But that's going to be the savvy investor. But if you want to be a safe investor, I recommend Acorns. Acorns is an application where you'll invest into mutual funds, and you can choose, if you want it risky, if you want it moderate, if you want it conservative, whatever you want to choose. But yeah, that's where I would start. You're going to have to start saving eventually, and might as well start saving when you are with your family paying no rent. But if you are paying rent, you're really going to have to pinch pennies. You need to put some money away. Make it a point to put away like 10, 15, maybe 20% of your take-home check every single time you get it.
Where you want to get to this in your, maybe not your 20s, but as of probably about 40 years old, you want to stop working for your money. Mm-hmm. You want your money to work for you. And generally the secret is to that. Get about $1 million in your account. At that point, you should have at least 8 times your yearly salary in investments. And if you get about $500,000, $700K, you can stop really making deductions or deposits into your investment accounts.
Yeah.
Because that's generally when compounding interest takes over. Mm-hmm. And with a 10% yield on 500K, that's $50,000 a year. And at 40 years old, I mean, $50,000 a year just keeps going up and up from there.
This is on a bullish style stock market or bullish style investment. You know, if we don't have any more 2008 crisis or any more, 2020 crises, then yes, I would say that.
So now that you're 25, 30 years old, I mean, where do you go from there? Like, you are saving, you're trying to make more money. I think another important thing is ask yourself, do you have a side job? Do you have, we call it a side hustle.
Yeah, everyone needs a side hustle. Everyone. If you don't think you need a side hustle, I think you do.
Yeah, you need to be able to utilize the hours between when you get off work to maybe another 6 hours after that. Because I think that's where the gains are made.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, you're working your 9 to 5 job, but from like 6 to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing from 6 to 9 a.m., 6 to 1 a.m.? Because if you, and that's what you're most passionate about.
Yeah, side hustles should be something that you are passionate about, something that you really want to do, because not everybody is going to want to work for the same employer. What I mean by that is, actually, you know what I like to say is, don't make anyone else's dreams come true. When you are working for somebody, you are making their dreams come true. You want to make your dreams come true. All right? And that is where a side hustle comes in.
Yes, I agree. I mean, why do people start like YouTube channels? Why do people start Twitch channels? Because it's essentially a side hustle. Whether or not we make money from this, it's just good information we have decided that people need to know.
Yeah, we keep this information inside, and we know a lot of information about this stuff. And
my friends don't care about it, honestly.
Yeah.
They just come over, they have beers and whatnot, and I mean they're good friends. I really like them, but they only come to you for a problem.
Yeah.
When they come to you for a problem, they will be like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I need some help with this investment. How do
Can I have
this?
$50?
Yeah, can I have $50 to invest? Can I buy Bitcoin?" But anyways, let's see, where do you go? 30 years old. I personally think you don't, when you turn 30 years old, it's fine if you aren't
Are just
millionaire.
getting started.
Yeah, it's fine if you're just getting started. It's fine if you're not married. It's fine if whatever. Like, it's to the point where we as a society have deemed 30 years old as the new 20. I mean, you have a long time to create that nest egg.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, because the ages are a lot longer. But in reality, most people work until they're about 65.
Correct. And that's why you need to decide whether or not you're going to be in that career path at 35. At 35 is where you need to decide, am I still going to be a cocktail server at this casino? Or am I going to be working this other type of job?
And it's so easy. It's so fucking easy to... I mean, this is just from my experience. It's so fucking easy to find a niche that you are good at, because we have websites like Fiverr, we have websites like eBay, and if you're a marketing guy, we have FBA, Amazon Fulfilled by Amazon, where you can buy shit from overseas and then have Amazon ship your orders, make money that way. I mean, there's so many different ways to make money online because we are all connected. And it just takes a creative personality to put the pieces together to make some real money just by sitting on your couch.
Yeah, I knew this 16-year-old, not personally, but I read a story on Reddit actually. He had said that he had a problem, or he didn't want to tell his mom that he had $250,000 sitting in a bank account at 16.
I remember that.
At 16 years old, because he would think that his mom and dad he would be doing something illegal, when in reality he was just doing Amazon FBA and starting 3 or 4 different stores selling items online. And he's just like, I have a problem. I'm kind of scared. I don't want to tell my mom. And he has a side hustle. I mean, school is his main hustle. I mean, you can go up and down around the block about that, but school is his main hustle.
And
his side hustle is after school.
You know, school isn't bad either. I mean, you have the capabilities of learning whatever you want on the internet, but school, you're going to notice, especially during this time, the COVID times, there's going to be a lot of career changes. You know, people are going to realize, like, after they get laid off their job, they're going to say, oh, wait a minute, you know, like, maybe this career, you know, the last 4 years, 5 years of what I was doing isn't right for me. So I'm going to go back to school. I mean, school isn't necessarily bad because it does give you a way to transfer your current abilities and, you know, transmogrify in them into new abilities. And that would be a way that I would suggest if you were looking for a career change to make extra cash. Maybe you should consider school. But if you're really determined, school is kind of an option, and it's kind of up in the air right now. I mean, and also, oh my God, the student loans. The student loans are okay. So this is another thing that's going to bog down investors, or this is going to be another thing. If you're a person with student loans, if you have student loans, all right, what you need to do is refinance those, or oh man, what is it called when you combine all the loans together? If you have multiple school loans, consolidate all your debt into a single payment. This is my recommendation, and try to get that interest rate low. Try to get that interest rate down to I don't know what student loan interest rate is. So
if anything over 4.5%, if you have any loans over 4.5%, pay them off.
Yeah, so pay them off.
If you have anything under, that's good debt, but generally over 4.5%, you need to pay those off.
In my opinion, student loans should be the first thing you pay off no matter what. I mean, you shouldn't be spending a dime on your credit cards. I mean, maybe you should be spending a dime, but not like, you know, whatever you can't afford. You know, you should be able to pay for your student loans and your credit card every single month. Also your rent. The secret to this game is the cash flow that comes in. The cash flow that comes in needs to be able to pay everything and also give you money. What I mean exactly is pay yourself first. Pay yourself first. You know, you work really hard for that money. Really hard. You know, you put in 40 hours at the minimum. 40 hours. So the first thing you want to do before you even go out and buy that flat screen TV, invest that money with either one of many different, it's multifaceted. One of many different types of investment firms. You can go to Wedbush, you can go to Merrill Edge, you can go to Charles Schwab. You know, these are all professional investment firms. Or you can go to Acorns, which is an app, or you can go to Robinhood. You know, these are all investment style places where you can put your money to grow.
If you guys need any assistance with buying furniture, let me give you guys a tip. Furniture is the worst fucking thing you can buy. It doesn't keep the value. I mean, it's very subjective on what it's worth.
In my opinion, if you're going to sell a house with the furniture.
Yeah, with the furniture, exactly.
Because that furniture isn't going to go well in your next house. Yeah. And you might as well get the money from the furniture. That's my opinion.
Correct. But if you guys need something, if you guys need this cup, for instance, and you saw like a stock photo online, then you can really do this with anything. Take the image that you buy, that where the image is located on where you're buying it. It will show an image, it'll show a price. Reverse image search that shit. Generally, you can find a majority of the things that are sold online for cheaper with the same image. And so this cup might be $20 because it's all copper. But if you buy it from Chinese, or if you buy it from wherever, it could be $15, $12 because it's on sale.
Yeah, I mean, the internet offers so many different doors where you can save money. You have a master negotiator in your pocket, but it's up to you to utilize its resource, and that's going to save you money in the long run. I mean, saving money, and also going out to Starbucks, going out to Coffee Bean.
Make your coffee at home.
I mean, going out to Starbucks and Coffee Bean is great. You treat yourself. You have great drinks. I think they taste really good.
Too much sugar, I think.
But it has a lot of sugar, but it tastes really good. But on the daily, you shouldn't be going out to Starbucks every single day because it's $5 a day, roughly. Whether it's Starbucks, Coffee Bean, Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts is a little bit cheaper. I mean, the frivolous purchases, it doesn't matter if it's Starbucks. It doesn't matter if it's, I don't know about sticks of gum, but, just going out to Taco Bell every other day. I do this myself. I'm guilty of doing it, and I need to stop. And I realize that. But that, it's not the big expenditures that really take a ding on your investment plans. It's the small ones, going out to 99-cent stores, dollar stores, and just saying, oh, I'm just going to buy, 300 M&Ms.
Like, yeah,
cases.
you got to understand.
They're only $1 each.
You got to understand that the 99-cent store, and there's no fault of their own, the 99-cent store sells a smaller quantity of items.
Oh my God!
Like people think that they're getting a deal on this one bag of chips, this nice bag of Lay's, and they're like, oh man, this bag of Lay's is 99 cents. But if you actually add up the price of how many Lay's bags you need to actually equate to the regular size bags, it's generally the same price, maybe even a little bit less. You're just taking up more space. I mean, it could be more, but you're taking up more space than what it's really worth. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, I'll look at cat litter, for instance, because I got 2 cats. And I'll look at one thing that's like 10 pounds of cat litter for like $15.
Yeah, if you measure it by ounce, that's another way of saving money. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then I'll look at something like 18 pounds for $15 or $16, and or $20. Now, granted, if I bought 2 of the 10-pound bags, it would equate me $30. But if I bought 1 bag of the 20 pounds, it's just a way of judging how much you're getting versus what you're spending on. It's a marketing thing. Makes you feel like you're saving money.
Yes, that is definitely true. I mean, marketing. I mean, the point of marketing is just to get inside the heads of the buyers. You want to know their psychographics. Where do they like to hang out? Where do they like to spend their money? And that's what's beautiful about the 99-cent store is, they give you what is perceived value versus what is actual value. And the perceived value is, oh man, I'm getting a carton of M&Ms, but in reality, when you open it up, it's, a handful.
What I think you get a lot of product for not a lot of money is Costco. Like, Costco's great if you
oh my God.
Costco is great if you buy like a crap load of things for family.
Miss America says downloading the Starbucks app was probably the worst thing I ever did. Yeah. I mean, you pay for my drinks.
So, let's see what else was on my list.
Costco. Let's finish up on Costco. Costco is, again, it's that perceived value versus actual value. I mean, you are getting a bulk product, but you are, who's going to use 3 gallons of Clorox bleach?
Well, it depends on what you use it for, but yes, I mean, if you have a family, that extra $15 or $7 to $8 for that 3 gallons of bleach versus the 1 gallon of bleach is worth it to you because it saves you from going to the store every single week to buy bleach.
Yeah,
and your time is
I guess that's true if you look at it that way. I mean, that's again, it's the perceived value that they're targeting. And then also, the actual value. So let's real quick. So, okay, you're going to start working after you graduate college. After you graduate, it doesn't, okay, let's assume you didn't go to college. When you're 18 years old, assuming you don't have any nest eggs, when you start working, your employer, if it's a good employer, I'm not talking about working at Starbucks. This is something you do want to do. You do want to get experience at Starbucks, at Ralph's grocery store, bagging groceries, but you don't want to stay there long. You don't want to waste your time,
Again, working for a big company, just get the experience. Maybe 1 year, 2 years max at these types of businesses. And, get out, get the experience, and start applying yourself. Start learning things. Start learning marketable trades or marketable skills like Excel or Word or, I don't know about coding because we have coding programs now. But, I mean, all you do is just say what you want, and it will automatically spit out code, and then you copy and paste it. That's what I mean by that. But, I mean, start learning marketable trades like welding, and start learning marketable skills.
Yeah, we are running low on plumbers, electricians.
Yes, I'm gonna touch on.
There's nothing wrong with trades.
I'm gonna touch on that in a second. But when you work for a firm, when you work for a company, it's going to be very important that you first negotiate your salary if you do get a salary, or negotiate your hourly wage. But if they do offer retirement plan, which is a win-win for you,
401k,
401k. Or IRA. I don't even know what IRA stands for, but it's a 401k or an IRA. That's going to be the start of your investing. If you haven't done any investing before, it's going to be the start of your investing career, your 401k. So a typical, let me explain this. So a typical employer 401k, they're going to say, yo, we got a 401k. You got to spend 5 years with us. That's called a vesting period. You have to be vested in a company, and they're going to give you a time limit. They're going to give you 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is. And the 5-year period, when that time limit reaches, you're going to be completely vested in this program, because it's not going to make any sense for an employer to set up a retirement account for somebody that's only there for 6 months. So they're gonna put together this IRA program, a 401k program, and they're gonna match every dollar that you put into your investment account up to a certain percentage. I think it's like 90%. Sometimes the employers, I've never had an employer do this, but sometimes employers give you dollar to dollar matching. So if you put in $5,000, they'll put in $5,000.
It's very common to do 50%.
Yes, of course. It's going to depend on the employer, and the money that is given to you by the employer is free money. All it takes is your effort to save the money and give it to your 401k for investments. And this money, it can be withdrawn, when you need it, but it's going to be taxed, and that's a whole nother situation. We'll talk about that. I mean, this is not the time to talk about that, but it's usually a good idea to find an employer that's going to match your 401k investment. So if you deposit $1, they'll deposit, 50 cents or something like that. It's free money. Beach to Peaks, I love the stream. 2 of the most handsome men in LA. Thank you, Beach to Peaks. I really appreciate your viewership. We are the most handsome realtors in the Southern California area.
And get it right.
Get it right.
Anyways, you wanted to touch on plumbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So some of the people I know that make over $100,000 a year are not Google employees. They're plumbers. They're electricians. They're AC guys. These trades are slowly disappearing. These older generation boomers.
Tell them about our plumber.
I'll get on to that. So these older generation plumbers are starting to retire. They don't want to work anymore. They're tired. And it's understandable, because everybody wants to push buttons for a living. Everyone wants to sit behind a computer, but you know what? Life isn't like that. If shit isn't getting made, shit isn't getting made. Somebody's got to be there to push the buttons to, make the machine go.
Now, our plumber, we spoke with him. He's like, oh man, he's moving like 80 to 100 miles north of us. And I'm out of a plumber that has 40 years, 50 years of experience for plumbing. He was amazing. Like, I don't know shit about plumbing. I call the experts, and I'm not calling a fucking art major to come and fix my sink. That's not what I'm doing.
Basket weaving.
Yeah, a basket weaver that did basket weaving in high school and is now a foreman
for a plumbing company. But when I call my plumber, I simply just say, hey, I need this done, and I can supply some of the parts because I kind of have an idea of how I want it done. But I'm just like, hey, is this possible? Can you do this? Or what do you think about this? Like, can you do this? He's like, yeah, I can do that. I can do that.
And the thing is these trades, I'm not going to say they're easy trades because it does take knowledge and it takes a certain set of skills to work like a drill or work like, hand tools. Not everybody's going to be a tradesman, but it takes grit and it takes, knowledge of how to use the tools to really make money. And when you do, if you are not book smart, if you are not computer smart, if you are not anything smart, but you know how to dig, and or if you know how to, if you know how to work hard, like literally work hard, have the sweat, dripping off your face. If you know how to do that, I think, and I'm pretty sure you're going to do well in this economy, because most of these people that are graduating are not going to want to do that kind of stuff. So the demand is going to be a lot higher. So you can garnish a higher pay from the people that don't know or don't want to do this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know for a fact. I spoke to Beach to Peaks before. He used to install fire sprinklers.
Oh, yeah. Beach to Peaks. He used to be. Yeah, exactly. He used to lay pipe.
He used to lay pipe in a building. And he loves laying pipe. And when he does lay pipe, he puts those joints together and makes water go through them. He loves laying pipe. Anyways,
he's probably one of many different
trades.
Many different trades. He puts together the fire sprinkler systems, the shit that you see that pokes out of the ceiling every single day in restaurants or whatever that keeps the building safe. I mean, those people are very important, and there's a certain set of trade skills that you need in order for that stuff to work properly. Like, how do you know when a fire goes off? Like, you need to know the certain type of glass in the fire sprinklers that break, that let the water go through. It's just very, very technical.
So I would say the top trades right now, if you guys have nowhere to go instead of the military, go choose. Because the military, honestly, it's the equivalent of, fuck it, I'm going to be a stripper kind of thing. Like, it's the guy version of, fuck it, I'm going to be a stripper. Like, I'm going to go into the military because I want to go into the military. My family is in the military. Or I got nowhere else to go. I'm going to be a fucking stripper in the military. But when you look at the trades, if you have nowhere to go, I'm going to choose an electrician, a plumber, HVAC. If you guys don't know what HVAC is, it's
heating and air.
Heating and air, so air conditioning.
Yeah.
And what else? I mean, those are pretty much the main. Roofing is a trade. Construction is a trade.
Yeah, I mean, these people do make over $100,000 a year.
Yeah, especially if you have your own business.
Yeah, and especially at the age of 20, when your back doesn't hurt. Oh man, you have earning potential to just invest and save into those employer 401ks, that they're going to and most trades, they do give you that kind of stuff. They'll give you either a pension if you're there for a while, or they'll give you, I don't know of a single company that gives a pension actually, but most companies do.
Teachers.
Yeah, teachers
do. Law enforcement does.
Yeah, teachers, I guess law enforcement, yeah, you're right. But yeah, they're going to give you a 401k, which is a retirement account, that you can put money into, and then when you reach age 60, you can withdraw from it. That's going to be like the mandatory withdrawals.
So let me tell you guys something. This kind of really pisses me off, and when I say pisses me off, I really do think it's so dumb. You had said save, and that kind of spawned something in my head. When people say, oh, I'm moving to LA, or I'm coming to LA from anywhere in the country, whether it be Arizona, wherever, they're like, oh, I'm moving to LA, but I'm only open to living in West Hollywood or Santa Monica. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is wrong with you? You're moving to LA because you want to move to Santa Monica or West Hollywood. First of all, those are the two most expensive areas where you can rent.
Yeah, you won't find a 1-bedroom apartment less than $3,000 a month.
Yeah, in Santa Monica, a 1-bedroom goes for $3,200 to $3,500 a month. Why is it And even then, even if you don't choose Santa Monica, let's say you choose like greater Los Angeles and just say, I want a 2-bedroom unit because I want space. What the fuck do you think you have you don't have the
You should be saving that money.
Well, no. Well, yes, you should be saving it, but you don't have a right to a 2-bedroom. Why don't you go rent a room somewhere? Like, and I don't mean that in a mean aspect. I really don't. But if your main goal is to come out to LA or come over here and save money, you should be spending the least amount you can on housing.
It's kind of like sacrifice now so I can live later.
Correct.
Yeah, it's going to suck. It really is, and I can't say this in any other way. It's going to suck. Not being able to go out to the nice steak dinners and, eating lean cuisines at home. But, in the long run, it's going to be a lot better because then when you actually do have a family or when you do have a wife or a husband or somebody like that, somebody that means something, you can actually spend more time with your family rather than, working your ass off because your money is going to be working for you. And that kind of brings around the whole picture on why we need to invest early. When you first become 18, you can get a job. I mean, you can get a job at 16 with a work permit, but you're going to be limited to the amount of hours that you can work. But, it's very, very important that you save money. And saving money is the pinnacle of success. And as soon as you do get older, like what I mean about older, like 50, 60 years old, your money is going to start working for you. You won't see it right off the bat. And I know how people are in this generation. The people that in this generation want instant gratification. And I'm not saying this as an insult because I do want instant gratification. I want to see my money work right now. But it's not always the case. Good things come to people who wait. And I believe that in an investment stance. But don't forget, and also, I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep saying don't forget, but in an investment stance, shit changes all the time. It is absolutely not your grandfather's stock market right now. Right now, shit is changing. Today we had a Tesla stock increase. I think it was 13%.
Yeah, it's at like
over $1,000 a share. It increased $120 today. That's unheard of in your grandfather's stock market. What your grandfather's stock market was buy and hold. Even though, that advice is good advice, I would not recommend it today. Buy something that, this is my opinion, I would buy something that's well known and a good product. And if you do something like that, you would I've noticed that you won't fail, that you won't lose money. You will at most stay the same.
Yeah, you have a point. The buy and hold it works. Buy and hold, it works. Definitely. It's you invest in a broad index fund, and that encompasses the top 500 companies, the S&P 500, and generally that increases about 7 to 10% a year. And yeah, if you do buy that, that's fine. And if you just keep throwing money at it, you will make money. Period. Whether or not you time the market, which I do not suggest you do, or you just your buy and hold strategy, that's what I like doing personally. Yeah, you don't get instant gains. You didn't buy Tesla at $300 a share, and now it's $1,400.
Yeah, just because you didn't make gains in 6 months, it doesn't mean it was a bad investment.
Yes.
I actually had Activision Blizzard. It is a gaming stock. I bought it in 2017 for like $65 a share. Was it all of 2018 or 2019?
All of 2019.
It was all of 2019. It was trading at $30 a share. And then what I did was I held on to it. I did not sell until it got back to about 75. So I roughly made $10 a share on it. But what I like to say is you do not lose money if you don't sell. Or you only lose money if you sell. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. You only lose money if you sell. That's what I believe in.
So, anyways, I think we're gonna call it for the night.
Yeah, I wanna just nail this down. Is when you're in your 20s, it's super, super, super important to save money. And I know it's tempting to go out to a bar, and that's okay if you want to go to a bar. But make it a point to create budgets. Make it a point to pay yourself first and invest that money into something that's going to grow throughout your entire life. You have any more to say about that?
I don't. I would just say making a budget is one of the most important things, and paying off student debt. Pay off the high interest debt. Anything over 4.5% needs to go.
And when you're in your 30s, all this stuff still stays the same, because when you're in your 30s, it is not too late. It is not. When you're starting to reach your 45, 42, 45, 50s, it's going to be really tough to invest. All right? And I can't stress this enough. Compounding interest is going to benefit you the long run 100% of the time. Thank you for the stream, and I'm here to help you guys. And please take our opinions as opinions only, but let it also enlighten you to make the best decisions that you can possibly make about your own financial stance.
And we are here to help you guys out, to kind of point you in the right direction, to kind of kick you into the right direction, and say, hey, go this way.
You can do it. I mean, this isn't a motivational stream, but you can do it. I mean, it's not rocket science. People do this every single day.
Yeah, and we can help you on property. We can help you on really anything else, investment related, cars, guns, and we will be talking some more about that. We did talk a lot about that probably about 2 weeks ago.
We will make another stream soon.
Yeah. So we'll let the music roll out. Once again, this has been a great Monday night.
Yep,
on Investment Addicts. So if you have anything else to add, if we don't have any additional questions, you guys have a good night.
Thank you so much, and enjoy your evening, Investment Addicts. Thank you.